Today I'm going to discuss mainly about biodiversity loss and decline. So primarily, the description of biodiversity loss is the extinction. So earlier we were to identify ang meaning sa mitigation and control. So karon ang loss na pod og decline when it comes to biodiversity. So biodiversity loss refers to the extinction of species ecosystem, including all organisms from single-cell species to large predators. So decline is a gradual decrease of the number itself. So in this illustration, as you can see, there are certain percentages even in the early 90s or late 90s that already manifested biodiversity loss, and even in a global level, we can see that the economic value generation is moderately or highly dependent on nature. So mainly all the resources or all the things that people consume or live from or live with is basically from the nature. So it is said here that 1 million animal and plant species are threatened with extinction because of human activities. So the main drivers of biodiversity loss and decline. So first is the habitat destruction, where urbanization, agriculture, deforestation, and infrastructure development fragment ecosystem, reducing genetic diversity and increasing extinction risk. So mainly it's how not just the animals but also the humans have interaction that has good and bad effects to the environment. So one example is when cities replace their natural habitats, threatening species in different places. So ang katong if there are naturally residents of this certain area and then planning to transfer to other locations, it may cause a habitat destruction, since the contractors will then start to develop the area by creating flatlands instead of rainforest, cutting the trees, and many more. So also included there is another example is basically agriculture. So if a certain place, if a certain ecosystem is naturally made for habitat and then transformed into a farmland or a root crop area, it could damage and even lose homes for the animals, their natural habitat. And also deforestation, where illegal logging for big wood and lumber companies, contractors may not really follow what the local law enforcement dictates. So some might not replace or even plant new seedlings or for replacement of those trees that they have removed from that area. Also in infrastructure, there comes a time that there has been, it is still ongoing now na access roads are also a cause of habitat destruction. So it's a really big challenge as to how the current technology can or the current knowledge, human knowledge, can really make innovations as to how to solve this big challenge between the development or the technological development and the natural preservation. So another driver is the climate change. There is global warming, altered precipitation, seasonal changes in ecosystem forcing species to adapt or relocate, often leading to extinction. So, one example is the global warming, where naturally cold places become slowly lowering their temperatures due to climate change. So the occupants, or we see the penguins, the polar bears would really suffer since the temperature goes down, their habitats slowly gets destroyed. So that's just an example. And also, when there is a changing in rainfall patterns or the altered precipitations, it threatens the species, especially in areas such as tropical areas, or that has areas that has only two seasons, two weathers. So another one is the seasonal change, where there is a unpredictable weather change that might cause the disruption of migration, especially when there are an example there is when we have a flock of birds that might be planning to migrate in different places, however being disturbed, and even smaller scale animals. So another driver is the overexploitation, overfishing, where some would use really advanced type of machineries just to harness so much supply, or oversupply or overfishing of water resources. So it causes imbalance, or it causes biodiversity loss or decline as well. And also when these people in some places that do illegal hunting, that also affects this balance, that is a natural balance. It causes the ecosystem to be irregular when it comes to its production, reproduction. There is even a really big industry when it comes to wildlife trade. So there is this rare species being traded, being hunted down, and being caught and being exported to countries that treat these animals as a really precious or expensive type of animals. So another driver is pollution, of course. Mainly the plastic waste that has a really long time to decompose. Even some kind of plastics doesn't even decompose within 10 years and even more. So it can be consumed. It can damage sea animals. So we can all see it in the internet how the sea animals suffer with this plastic waste in the marine world. So another one is pesticides, where the natural occupants of our fauna or our plants, such as our bees, our butterflies, our some ants or other species that occupy these plants, might be suffering in some innovative inventions when it comes to pesticides. So there is still a cause of imbalance in that aspect. And also the industrial chemicals that affect the species in large-scale plants, large-scale power plants, large-scale manufacturing plants. It would also affect the marine life. So another driver is the invasive species, where the non-native species may outcompete or prey into the native species. So it becomes a disruption in the food web. So predators, one example is when a local snake in a certain place gets sprayed on by a foreign snake. So there is still a certain effect within the ecosystem. And also another example is when in Australia, where they have different breeds or different species of animals that even go to the households of people. Yeah, it is an eminent proof of a certain imbalance. However, there is a natural ecosystem where the threat of biodiversity loss can be saved or can be resolved. This is called the tropical rainforest. So, biodiversity and species protection. The first one, the tropical rainforests are a home to a vast range of species, and their preservation is crucial for preventing the extinction of many plants, animals, and microorganisms due to deforestation and human activities. So, tropical rainforest, there are countries that invest a lot when it comes to preserving the tropical rainforest. Since the tropical rainforest can cater or can preserve different kinds of species without any threat, human intervention, this ecosystem or natural ecosystem is really a solving factor when it comes to the threat of biodiversity loss. The ecological functions of tropical rainforest, they play a key role in regulating the global water cycle primarily, and by contributing to the rainfall for supporting local agricultural systems, which makes their preservation essential for water security. Yes, the tropical rainforest also gives a sanctuary when it comes to quality precipitation or water cycle, since there is humidity in this rainforest. So also in climate regulation, a rainforest helps mitigate climate by storing carbon in trees and soil, acting as carbon sinks, as discussed earlier. Carbon sinks where they can store a huge amount of carbon within the system. So, however, deforestation releases stored carbon, contributing to global warming. So, this is there is the problem here when it comes to the this is the threat. I mean, when it comes to tropical rainforest, the deforestation. Another aspect of the tropical rainforest is the soil and landscape health, where it prevents from soil erosion, it maintains fertile land for agriculture. On the other hand, deforestation leads to soil degradation and negatively affects local ecosystem. So the impact when it comes to the tropical rainforest is that indigenous communities depend on rainforest for food, medicine, and shelter, and their sustainable practices help preserve ecosystem. So, on the other hand, the deforestation is a threat. So, here comes the threat of the tropical rainforest, where it is identified as the deforestation. So, mainly the deforestation has different drivers. The first cause is the illegal logging. It is even both illegal and legal. So, agricultural expansion for cash crops and urban development, leading to a dramatic drop in the forest cover of 70% to less than 20% between 1940s and 1980s. So, there is still an impact, no? So, even though the intention it is legal some have legal activities, some have illegal logging activities. Both dramatically contribute to the forest cover of the Philippines. So even in the early 1900s, 1940s to 1980s, there is a very, very significant amount of loss when it comes to the rainforest. So the impact in the environment of deforestation, the loss of a forest has serious consequences for biodiversity. So threatening endemic species. So then there comes species being threatened. So some species go extinct, and some species go declined in numbers. So increases vulnerability to natural disasters like floods and landslides, which strain natural resources and impact communities. So together with the decline of the Philippine forest cover, also the increase when it comes to calamities such as flooding, landslides, and the rest. So there is somehow a domino effect when it comes to the deforestation. So it's not just about losing the shade in our country, but also it includes the loss of local species and even increase in calamities. So when it comes to the conservation efforts, the National Green Program, and just to name one, it aims to combat deforestation by planting trees and enacting laws to restrict logging and open pit mining, which is sensitive to areas to protect remaining forests. So there have been many organizations, both profit and non-profit, and even the government is already making its big steps when it comes to preserving the tropical forest or even the rainforest here in our country. So the community involvement, local communities and NGOs are actively engaged in conservation to tree planting and promoting sustainable forest management practices to help mitigate deforestation. So different organizations, even the agencies of the government, has a mandate that at least to participate even twice every year in a tree planting activity, and even it is made as a goal to agencies in the uniform service to support the call for reforestation. So there is the agencies partnered with DNR, DAR, and the rest of these agencies in order to continuously share the awareness when it comes to environmental reforestation or recovery of our nature. So the ongoing challenge is that despite the conservation measures, deforestation persists, necessitating effective enforcement of policies and collaboration among the government, private sectors, local communities to safeguard Philippine forest and biodiversity. So as you can see, there is still a threat, even though the illegal and the legal logging is monitored somehow by these laws passed. However, there is still a challenge, not just in the illegal logging aspect, but also how the different enforcement of policies should be executed well, and how the government, even the private sector and local communities, should work together in order to attain its main goal. So the current situation in the deforestation in the Philippines. So the importance of forest. Forests are vital for human survival. So I said earlier, so with 4.1 million hectares lost in 2022, in the Philippines lang ni siya, 4.1 million hectares lost. So there have been practices, there have been proposed programs, but still continuous. I think it's really a challenge of it's a matter of law enforcement and implementation, sustainable implementation of the laws of preservation of the forest. The Philippines has lost 1.42 million hectares tree cover between 2001 and 2022, primarily due to urbanization, commodity-driven deforestation, contributing sa substantial carbon dioxide emission and biodiversity loss. So, it's a large number. It is an alarming number to see 1.42 million hectares. Somehow, the economic aspect of urbanization can be seen as really a beautiful one, since many people consider that the modernization of a country is based on how modern living is, how many real estate development there is in a certain place, how many people that live well in a good household. However, there's a gray area where we can see how the Philippine forest suffers to this development per se. So that's where the challenge really is. So also industry of commodity driven deforestation, where big companies really cut trees just to produce and just to sell lumber, wood, and different furnitures. So also in the carbon dioxide emission that affects our living animals in these areas. So the current forest conditions. The Philippines, in 2022, the Philippines has only 7.22 m hectares of forest cover. So there was a decline, 17.8 million in 1934. So it is still a serious threat, especially to our endangered species, to really see how and when will it be mitigated in a sense that really has significant improvement when it comes to these statistics. It must be lowered much lowered. So again, the government initiatives have the policies to combat deforestation, including the REDD+ strategy, which aims to conserve forest and biodiversity, enhance carbon sinks, and reduce greenhouse gas. So these improvements can only be seen in a longer span of time, and hopefully there is a fighting chance for the Philippines to really recover its wide range of richness when it comes to forest or rainforest, tropical rainforest. So despite the progress, the challenging remains reversing the deforestation trends. Effective monitoring, collaboration among stakeholders, and continued policy enforcement are crucial for achieving sustainability and protecting the nation's rich biodiversity. So the conclusion, despite the existing solutions to combat deforestation, crisis continues due to insufficient implementation and enforcement of laws. It is not enough for lawmakers to simply enact legislation. They must also establish robust systems and enforce these measures effectively. So, as I've said earlier, the country already passed so many laws, so many ordinances, even in local levels. So, I think the next part there is the law enforcement as to how these implementations be strengthened enough, not just in paper but also in actual execution of the law. So government authorities must take a proactive role in overseeing deforestation mitigation strategies in both local and national. So hands-on approach to enforcement is crucial to ensure that these laws achieve their intended goals. Without effective mechanism for implementation, even the best innovation will fall short. So yes, as I've said earlier, laws and innovations already there, but when it comes to implementation, I think the government, not just this current admin but also the past, hasn't have enough iron hand when it comes to really implement preservation of our rainforest. Therefore, a comprehensive and consistent follow-up system is essential for sustaining efforts against deforestation. Real progress in protecting our forests requires not only strong laws but also commitment to their execution, ensuring a healthier environment for future generations. So I think that would be all. Thank you.